Have you ever met someone who makes absolutely no sense to you? They're not your usual type. They don't match your checklist. On paper, it shouldn't work. And yet something in you refuses to walk away. It's not fireworks. It's not fantasy. It's more unsettling than that. It's a quiet, internal shift, a subtle awareness, as if something deeper than your personality just said, "Pay attention." And that's where it gets confusing. Because real love, at least from a Jungian perspective, is rarely neat. It doesn't arrive as a perfect match. It arrives as a disruption, a psychological event, a mirror held up to parts of you that have been waiting to be seen. So how do you know this isn't just obsession, projection, or unresolved trauma? Here are 5 strange signs you may have met your true love, through the lens of depth psychology, not fantasy. The first sign is that they feel strangely familiar, but not in a surface-level way. You don't just like them, you recognize them. There's a sense of psychological symmetry, as if they embody qualities you've always needed, but never fully developed in yourself. Carl Jung believed that every man carries an unconscious feminine side, the anima, and every woman carries an unconscious masculine side, the animus. These inner figures shape who we're drawn to. When someone strongly reflects that hidden part of you, it can feel magnetic. If you're highly rational, you may be drawn to someone intuitive and emotionally expressive. If you're chaotic and impulsive, you may feel grounded around someone steady and calm. It's not about opposites attracting. It's about balance-seeking integration. The strange part is this: the attraction feels deeper than preference. It feels like your psyche recognizing a missing element. Not a missing half because you're not incomplete, but a missing dimension. And that recognition doesn't always feel comfortable. It feels important. The second sign is that they trigger you in ways that force growth. We often assume true love should feel peaceful all the time. But deep connections don't just soothe you, they expose you. Jung spoke extensively about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject, suppress, or deny. These include insecurity, jealousy, fear of abandonment, even anger. When you meet someone who truly matters, they often activate these hidden layers, not because they're toxic, but because they're close enough to reach places others can't. You may find yourself reacting more intensely than you expected, feeling vulnerable in ways you haven't in years, wanting to run even when nothing is technically wrong. That's not necessarily a red flag. It may be a signal that something unconscious is surfacing. The key difference between true love and dysfunction is this: does the relationship help you become more aware of yourself or more ashamed of yourself? If the connection pushes you to confront patterns, take responsibility, and grow, it's likely transformative. If it traps you in cycles of anxiety and blame, it's likely a reenactment of old wounds. True love doesn't avoid your shadow, it brings it into consciousness. The third sign is that being around them gives you energy instead of draining it. There's a major psychological difference between intensity and vitality. Intense relationships can feel addictive. They're full of highs and lows, unpredictability, longing, and emotional spikes. That's often driven by uncertainty and fear. It keeps your nervous system activated. But vitality feels different. It feels steady, grounded, expansive. When you're with the right person, you don't feel like you're fighting to keep the connection alive. You feel supported by it. Even after conflict, there's a baseline sense of strength. Ask yourself, when I leave this person, do I feel clearer or more confused? Do I feel expanded or diminished? Real love increases your life force. It doesn't consume it. You may find that your creativity improves. Your motivation rises. You feel more capable in other areas of your life. The relationship becomes a source of energy, not a distraction from reality. That's not chemistry alone, that's alignment. The fourth sign is that the relationship allows both of you to remain individuals. One of Jung's central ideas was individuation, the lifelong process of becoming your authentic self. A healthy relationship doesn't interrupt that process, it supports it. If you've met your true love, you won't feel pressured to shrink your world to fit theirs. You won't be asked to abandon your ambitions to preserve the connection. In fact, you may feel more encouraged to pursue your goals. There's a paradox here. The bond feels strong, almost unbreakable. And yet there's space. You're connected, but not fused. Close, but not dependent. You respect each other's boundaries. You can disagree without threatening the foundation. You don't need constant reassurance because the trust runs deeper than mood. Many people confuse enmeshment with love, but enmeshment is about fear of separation. Real love is about freedom within connection. You walk side by side, not on top of each other. The fifth sign is that the connection forces you to confront the truth about your life. This is the most uncomfortable sign, and often the clearest. When you meet someone who genuinely resonates with you, it becomes harder to tolerate what's false. You may suddenly question your career path, your friendships, your habits, even your identity. It's not because the person is demanding change. It's because the relationship reflects who you are capable of being. Jung described certain encounters as numinous, charged with psychological significance. They don't just add to your life, they reorganize it. You begin to see where you've been living on autopilot, where you've compromised your values, where you've been settling. True love doesn't rescue you, it reveals you. And that revelation often requires courage. Because once you see clearly, you can't unsee. Now, a necessary caution. Not every intense connection is true love. Psychology also recognizes something called limerence, an obsessive form of infatuation driven by uncertainty and fantasy. Limerence feels urgent. It feels like you can't breathe without the other person. It's fueled by inconsistency, mixed signals, emotional distance, unpredictability. You're constantly analyzing their texts, replaying conversations, waiting for validation. That's not soul recognition. That's your attachment system in overdrive. True love may feel strong, but it doesn't destabilize your sense of self. It doesn't require you to beg for clarity. It doesn't keep you in a constant state of anxiety. Intensity alone is not proof of depth. The real question is this: does this person help you move toward wholeness or pull you further into fragmentation? Because ultimately, from a Jungian perspective, the purpose of love is not completion, it's integration. You are not half of a soul waiting to be found. You are a full psyche, conscious and unconscious, light and shadow. When you meet someone who mirrors your potential, not just your wounds, that's rare. It may not look like the fantasy you imagined. It may not feel easy at first, but it will feel meaningful. And meaning is what distinguishes destiny from distraction. So if you've met someone who unsettles you in a way that leads to growth, energizes rather than drains, supports your individuality, mirrors hidden parts of you, and forces you to live more truthfully, don't ignore that. Just make sure you're not losing yourself in the process, because the strangest sign of true love isn't obsession. It's recognition, not just of them, but of who you are becoming in their presence.